Hi, guys. This is Laura from Healing with Spirit. So I have no makeup on. Please don't mind the appearance. It's been a chaotic couple days, and I should say chaotic 24 hours where I've had to call 911 3 times. So it's been one of those days. Once because a neighbor was having a crisis and needed a well check, and they ultimately were taken by ambulance, so that was a good call. And the other 2 times were because a truck was on fire and we couldn't extinguish it, and I was involved with trying to put it out. And I apologize. It is humid in here, and my fan is blowing, and I can hear the feedback. So if you do join, please let me know if you're hearing that blowback. And I'm hoping it's not coming through on your end. But and I had to call the fire department. Here's a truck that's on fire on the middle of a busy road. 10 minutes goes by, no fire truck. We went through 2 fire extinguishers because every time we put it out, the fire would reignite, and had to call again. So I'm a little on the physical frazzle side, so please don't mind me. But, it is what it is. I'm not here for the appearance. I'm here to get real and raw. Tonight, what the focus is if you are on live, please chime in the comments. Let me know you're here. And also put in, what questions you may have. What we're going to focus on tonight is really the full moon in Capricorn, what transpired from Sunday to today, yesterday, and leading to Biden stepping down and Kamala possibly uh, taking over as the Democratic nominee. Now, so one of the things I will tell you is I try to do this from a very, very non biased perspective. I do it from a spirit perspective. It is very difficult to do with integrity when we do these types of readings. But there is a reason why, for the last 3 election cycles, I have been 100% accurate. So we did drop for those who don't know, and I will go back and edit the description for the replay, the August podcast early. Something just said, Laura, you need to do it. So we dropped it like 3 weeks early. And the next day is when we had the issue that happened with Trump, with whatever happened with the shooting. And then yesterday we had Biden announcing his dropping out of the race. So we did talk about the elements on that. So I'm not going to go too much on the astrology and the overall between Biden and Trump, because that's all in there. I did say in that episode that if Biden was going to stay in, one, he needed to change his advisors, and then if he did, he probably would have still won by a very slim margin. That's what I saw. Now, I said if he was removed or if he stepped down, it was going to be for health reasons, and it's not for dementia. I personally believe, this is what I am feeling, and as somebody who has worked with people post-COVID vax, I wouldn't be surprised if President Biden is struggling with AFib. And that is potentially deadly. A lot of people I have worked, my father died from post-COVID AFib. My dog died from post-COVID AFib. And so I was feeling like if he was to step down, it was going to be for health reasons. So what I did is, you can see I pulled a bunch of cards and I wrote a bunch of notes just so I stay on track, because I have a tendency on going on all kinds of tangents. So I pulled cards. I pulled 3 cards for Trump, and this is going with the assumption that if it is going to be those 2, Trump for 3 and Kamala Harris for 3, with a clarification card. I also pulled 3 cards surrounding just the energies about the election in general, like what it is we need to know about the election. And then I went back and reviewed the numerology and also tarot associations with some of those numbers as well. So let's just start with Kamala with the swan, and we can go with here. So let's just go with these two right here. This being past and this being present. And what I was picking up, first of all, with the temperance. When I think of temperance, the temperance card, first of all, it's a soul card. This is kind of what she was here to do. She is here to do some sort of grand, big thing, okay? But the temperance and the swan, like when you think of swan, right, you think of feisty, very protective of family when they need to be, but they also sail through things with balance, harmony, and grace. Okay. So that showed up in her. So this is like a soul thing. The judgment card was in the present. So, and it's also the whale. So with that, you got to think of really deep reflections, some really deep inner conversations with herself. There's a big transformation happening within Kamala Harris right now. This is life-altering decisions. And when I think of the whale, it really has to do with emotional preparation. It's being emotionally mature to be able to handle difficult things. If we're talking about women in power, one of the biggest criticisms typically we have is surrounding really women being too emotional. And this is basically saying, look, guys, she is emotionally mature and she's done that deep inner reflection and she can handle anything that shows up. So that is what this is showing here. Now, the interesting thing is this showed up in the future. So when I think of the mouse, right? Like if I go this way, like mouse energy, right? When you think of mouse energy, you think of like squirrely around, vermin, invasive, very reproductive, right? They're kind of like, right? But very earthy at the same time. But when you look at it from an inverted standpoint, this basically is saying the end of struggle, the end of difficult times. Okay? This is recovery, is what this is showing. Recovery. And if you're on, please chime in. I want to make sure I have a fan blowing, and I do want to make sure if it is blowing feedback on your end or if it's interrupting and what you're able to hear, please let me know so I can correct it ASAP. So that is what I pulled for Kamala. Now for Trump, what I found very interesting, the 2 out of the 3 cards are the exact same cards I pulled regarding his health. Okay. So in the past, I have the Lover's card, but it's inverted. And so what this is basically saying is he's got relationship issues. He's got communication issues. This is like shit's out of balance. You're not working together for the benefit of the hive. You're not working together for the benefit of the colony. There's a level of coldness here. So this is what is stuff we kind of already know. In the middle, I had gotten the Cobra or the King of Wands, also reversed. When we think of this, this is basically strike first, actions later, taking rash, irrational decisions, very hasty decisions, very self-absorbed. So this is what I saw for Trump in the present, okay? With the future, this was also in Trump's card in his health. So if you go back and you listen to the replay where we talk about Trump's health that is coming up, I do feel I really don't want to say what I got. I said what I said with Biden, because we know he's got COVID, and I really think that the reason why he stepped down is I really do believe he might have some AFib issues going on, and that is potentially deadly. And it is deadly with people post COVID. I know. I've had 2 people die from it. My dog, yeah, my person, my dad, and my dog. So AFib is no joke. So there's something about AFib. I kept feeling something with the heart with President Biden, but here I feel like there might be some sort of, there's a long progressive thing. There's something here, and I keep getting like cancer hits, but I'm not 100% sure what. But with this card, with the 9 of Swords, there is an order or opposition. Also talking about poor health. Like I keep hearing the word loon. The secure position that he is seeking, I don't feel he's going to get it. And here's the thing, even if he is elected, I don't think, like, you got to look beyond Trump. I don't feel Trump is going to be here a year from now. I really don't feel he will. So you really have to look at, you're not voting for Trump if you're on the pro-Trump team. You've got to look at, can you deal with Vance, or can you deal with the Mike Johnson? If you can't, you've got to look at other aspects, okay? And we also talked about in the August podcast that we dropped early, was that the increase in violence and what we saw with Trump. I will just say, I am not feeling that's going to be the only incident. There's something that I feel is going to happen between August and September. I don't feel that, there's a lot of people that don't want Kamala, regardless. But there's also a lot of people that don't want the third party people that are also rising in the polls. So there's a lot here at stake on multiple fronts. So I am not here to tell you who you should and shouldn't vote for. What I am doing is giving you the energies behind each candidate and what is happening. Now, after I did with those few cards, I also pulled, what do we need to know? Okay, and actually this was reversed. What do we need to know about these 2 candidates moving forward, if they are our final 2 candidates? All right. So the Fool card is really like the beginning of the Fool's journey. So there's an opportunity for new beginnings. There's an opportunity for a new journey, a new outlook on life. But right now, as it stands, because of the intense anxiety, and you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to think a certain way, you need to be a certain way, this isn't the right thing, this is the. And what do we do when we have a catastrophe, right? This is what we have to think. What do we do when we have a catastrophe? We stop the bleeding. And right now, we have to figure out, how do we not go down the imperialism of, dictatorship and erasure of our basic rights in this country? And who is the best candidate to kind of put a halt to it and hopefully implement, because there's not so much you can do in 4 years. So it's, who can we put in place that can implement structures that are for the people, not for power hungry people. Okay. So this card is basically cautioning us, if we are looking at from the voter standpoint, right, of either holding back. Maybe we're in a freeze position and we feel like we're stuck. Maybe we're saying, we're just not going to vote this year because this is a fuck show. Okay. I don't know. And there's a lot of reckless, irresponsible behavior on both parties. And people aren't stopping and pausing and really taking stock on what needs to happen. Now, is it coincidence that Biden stepped down yesterday on a full moon in Capricorn? I don't think so. It was perfectly aligned from a spiritual standpoint, perfectly aligned. Okay. So this is just a reminder. And for those of you who might be in a positions of power that are like making decisions, this is a step to step back. Take a step back. Stop making decisions and choices based on anxious feelings, fear, and worry. Okay? Because if you don't, you're going to be like, we want something new. But the American people, like I did a thing on third parties. We want something new. We all want a third party. But the people are not stepping up to make that happen. And I want to say stop with the excuses of, well, it's this and that. No. I've been doing policy and legislation for victims of domestic violence for 10, 20, almost 20 years now. And let me tell you something, when people put their heads together, shit gets done. It always comes down to the people. But we have to get from behind our screens and get out onto the streets and into our legislators' offices and into the rallies and ask hard questions. Okay? So this is an opportunity. This is a caution to not waste it. Okay? Now, for the overall election, what I pulled was these two were inverted. So if you understand, like very inverted, like this is like ancient wisdoms here, right? The Page of Wands and the Nine of Wands. And this is basically like this is kind of reflecting on the American people not feeling inspired by anything that has to do with the election process. If anything else, especially I want to say if you're over, well, no, actually I'm feeling it on both sides, sorry. It's just different perspectives of the same coin. The older generation is feeling uninspired and they're really feeling like, hey, we got like some old shit going on and I don't know how to do anything, so maybe I just won't vote. The younger generation's feeling the opposite. They're feeling so much anger and angst and fear and worry, like, you goddamn adults fuck this up for our future. And they are kind of acting on the irrational fear of how do I go take action. And I want to say the younger folks need to kind of pull back and figure out what's the appropriate action. And the older folks, don't stay at home because your votes matter. Okay? Your actions matter, especially if you're retired. Get out from your houses and get active in the talking to people, talking to schools, whatever it is on doing that. And this, the Nine of Wands, which I find very interesting, this is like dragon energy, okay? This is talking about how exhausting it is. Like what we're in, like this full moon, I don't know about you guys, but it was fucking exhausting. It was tiring. We're in very challenging times. We are not out of the woods. It is not going to be over anytime soon. There's a lot of shit happening, okay? And just like this t-shirt says that I created, your soul knows better than you, so get the fuck out of the way. Okay? So you may feel like this is an endless battle that's just not going anywhere. Just shut the fuck up, Laura. I'm fucking done. All right? But then I'm reminded of this. Like whenever I see snakes, by the way, it's the resurgence of feminine power. Okay? I do see snakes very much connected with feminine power. And this is acceleration. There's a lot of things that are going to happen very fast paced, very quickly. There's going to be a lot of movement. So even if you're in the press pause phase right now, like you need to rest, you need to recharge, do all those things, still keep like 1 ear open as you're in rest stage. Okay. Doesn't mean get obsessed. It means keep your ears open. All right. Now I asked for clarification on this and I got the Queen of Cups. And what that really means is the overall look for the solution to what's happening in this country. If we needed feminine leadership, this is the year to do it. Okay? All the numerology that I did on the 3 candidates I did the other day, from like those 3 alternatives, Mike Johnson, RFK Jr., Marianne Williamson, from a numerology, Marianne Williamson was a smidget above, not by much, but a very smidget up above RFK Jr. as what this country needs from this, like what the spirits see, like the whole balance of things. but the people aren't ready for Marianne Williamson. Okay. But are they ready for Kamala Harris? And this is saying, like, and then when I looked at like all the things that she's doing, and when I looked at even here about how she's grown and matured and got more emotionally stable here and very grounded, this is saying that this is the equivalent of emotional stability in the person. The person that's going to lead this needs to be feminine, somebody who's got that mother quality, that has those motherly instincts, that knows how to act on them when needed, knows themselves, knows their instincts, knows how to work with the elements, and is in the flow and is emotionally stable. Okay. Now, when I looked at the interesting thing, so, and here's like the numerology, I was like kind of taking notes for myself. Again, Kamala. Now, the interesting thing with Kamala's numerology, she in 19, no, is it a coincidence? 1964 and 1946, from a numerology standpoint, are the same. It's a 20. And that kind of gave me goosebumps because 1964, the 6 and the 4 are just different. So Kamala Harris, if I had to read it like a sentence, she's here to create new things, end chapters, or end, end those chapters, change to a new chapter, but doing it from building relationships in harmony, okay, and then bringing that into the material world. Versus 1946 is the year where we were just coming out of a war. So like 1964 is like, hey, peace, love, happiness, right? 1946 energy is same thing, new beginnings, ending of chapters, okay? But materialism first to get what you want in a relationship. And as we've noticed, just in general, we don't get what we want if we put money first to get relationships. And then if we look at Trump's history, 3 marriages, and his final one is to a porn star, okay? Which I find it hysterical that the religious folks find it's okay to have as first lady a porn star. But that's a whole other topic. Let's just look at, so I find it very interesting that both candidates have the same number in numerology. So I do think that these two are going to be the final candidates because they are aligned for this election. And I was getting goosebumps when I was doing it earlier. But then when I look at 2024, right? Kamala Harris in 1964, her birth life path is a 5 and Trump's is a 4. So when I look at Kamala, she came in here, she was born to make changes. That is what she came here to do, was to create change. Trump, on the other hand, is all about the material and the physical world and physical pleasures. That's what he came here to do. It's not about other people, what he can do for you and me. It's about him acclimating. That, I can't make this shit up, guys. Like it just is. So it's a 4-year. Okay. But in 2024, I found this very interesting. Kamala Harris is an 11. Now, if you understand numerology, the 11 number is a master number in numerology. It's about duality. It represents the pillars of justice. It's a master number. It represents the justice card in tarot. Okay. So when you think of the justice card, you think of like the pillars of justice, right? The goddess, the goddess justice, or the what do you call it? The whatever. Anyway, it also is like the executive. The justice card in tarot is like the executive position, executive power, right? So that's like the presidency, destiny, natural leader, very independent, but also very connected. Now it's quite interesting because Kamala Harris is a wood dragon. She's a Libra, so she's very grounded in Western astrology, but she's a Pisces in Vedic astrology. So she really had to, in this lifetime, and probably as vice president, had to really go to school on mastering the emotional maturity. And Trump is Gemini and Scorpio. Can't make this shit up, guys. He's a dog in Chinese medicine. So that really brings out vengefulness, passion, vigor, resentment, inventiveness, creativity, proper appreciation for the brazen, okay? Versus Kamala from a numerology and astrology, Chinese astrology perspective is purposeful driven, can be impulsive, is resilient, and is able to overcome challenges. Okay. So, but the 11 I found very fascinating because that really bridges like the spiritual world, the material world, the mental world. You know, it also means that like she's a dreamer, she's shy, she can be nervous, right? But the 11 number out of all the numbers in from my perspective in numerology, it is the most elevated in the balance of male and feminine energy. And it also is the leadership number in numerology. Okay. So, like 1111, we see that a lot sometimes, right? Because, oh, yeah, keep your thoughts positive, things will happen. Well, if you're stuck in fear and worry and angst and like doom and gloom and Armageddon, guess what? Right now, between now and November, if you're pumping that energy out there, you're manifesting it. And she's here to say she's a manifester. So, that is what the 11 is really kind of showing us in numerology. Okay. Now, on Trump's, we have the emperor. He wants to be king. He wants to be emperor. But that, again, you can't make this stuff up. This is what it is in numerology. The fourth card in tarot is the emperor card. Okay. And so this is the part that we just can't make this stuff up. And the more I look into, to be honest with you, the more I look into the numerology between both candidates, the more I look into like pulling the cards for tarot. And here's my thing. I can go and I'll pull like, okay, here's this deck. We'll do the Tower card as no, and we'll do the unless did I pull it? The Emperor card. So the Emperor card we'll do as no. We'll do the Justice card as yes for the person that is going to get elected. So I'm going to start with Trump, and I'm just going to be flipping the cards, and this is going to be a yes or no. Will Trump become president? Okay. So I'm going to keep flipping until I get the card and see which one comes up first. I just got the Devil. Lot of anxious nights. The Star. Falling Tower. No. Now when I go and I do that again with Kamala Harris, will Kamala Harris, and I'm asking the spirits to help me and understand. So here we go. Will Kamala Harris be, see the deck, president? Here. Here's the 10 of Cups. So there's some joyfulness there. There's the Death card. Wheel of Fortune, which is a powerful card. Queen of Coins. 3 of Cups, the celebratory, a lot of angst. There's the 10 and 9 of Swords. Queen of Cups. The World card. The Lovers card, the High Priestess card, the Temperance card, the Hanged Man. Here we go. So that says, and so how I read that yes and no, and I actually did that a couple times before just to make sure before I felt confident, but I kept getting a quick no for Trump. He will not become president. I don't know what's going to stop it, but he will not become president. Will it be his health? Will it be something else? I do not know. All I know is I am not feeling him being president. I do not feel, because of health reasons, he will be here a year from now. I think he's got something else going on with his health that he is not disclosing, and I think he already knows about it. That's why he's not disclosing his medical records. I think he's got either cancer or something that is life threatening that he's not talking about. Okay. And with Kamala Harris, when I did this, that just says that there's a lot of people that it's not going to be an easy win for her either. Now, if I had to look at, will any of the third party people, meaning Speaker of the House, Marianne Williamson, RFK Jr., will any of them be president moving into the fall? Temperance, High Priestess, Hanged Man, Four of Clubs, Chariot, Two of Swords, Death card. I do feel like there's going to be death somewhere. I don't know where. Okay, so here's the thing. There is a chance. So I feel like the real conversation needs to be not about Trump being president, but the real election is going to be between a third party candidate and Kamala Harris. You heard it here. Okay? That is where the election focus needs to be. Is it going to be a third party? Because I do feel the Gen Z population is absolutely 100% leaning towards third party, meaning RFK Jr. or Marianne Williamson. Okay. And I do feel those that are over 35 or 40 are going to be more apt at voting Democrat or Republican or staying home. So my thing is, don't stay home. This is don't be the fool. Don't be the fool. Don't be the one that goes, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. This is, we all as Americans, regardless of where you are politically, have a duty to stand up and get involved. And it starts locally. Get to know who's your mayor, who's your legislator. Do you know them? Have you talked to them? If you haven't, then we really, I've learned this doing domestic violence advocacy. I really have learned, like, I have no right to bitch and moan about how shitty shit is when I haven't done anything to talk to and get involved with my legislators and tell them what's going on. So have you even done that with your state senators? Like, I know in Massachusetts, Senator Warren's up for re-election. Have you reached out to Massachusetts people? Because her election is being contested. So, like, these are the things, like, get involved. Get to know. Like, one thing I learned about being involved with Marianne Williamson too is, like, I learned so much about the Gen Z population and how driven they are. Like, at 17 years old, and they're going to political rallies and asking hard questions. And I'm sitting there going, like, holy shit, when I was 17, I was skipping school. Like, different priorities, right? So if the Gen Z population is taking this shit seriously, so do we. And it means that we have to really look at not allow the Democratic Party to bypass what they did with Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. That is election interference. So Marianne Williamson is a very good person to listen to, because regardless of whether you vote for her or not, she's giving some very big, important tips on what to think about and how to contact your legislators and your delegates to make sure that this is a fair electoral process for the Democratic Party, that they don't do what they did the last time. Okay? So I'm hoping you got what you needed. In the meantime, make sure you check out, if you haven't listened to the podcast that we dropped a few weeks ago, where we gave some tips. But this is slow and easy while everything fast is going around us, because that means we really need to get rooted. We need to be the oak tree right now and get anchored so we can get clear about what actions we need to take. Do we need to get involved in the local, campaign offices? Do we need to, do some research and really get to know the candidates? Do we need to look at more people that are doing astrology on this? Because I'll tell you something, we weren't wrong about the assassination attempt. We just didn't label it as that. We are very careful when we say certain things. Yes, and I don't think the violence is over. I think there's something about August that is very unsettling. So, but I'm hoping you all got your answers. If not, feel free to book a one-on-one reading with me if you want to look at your own charts and see how it's impacted over the next few months. I do have limited openings between now and September 1st, and very little availability in October. So, but if you want a reading or you want some clarity or you want some guidance, I try to do this from a non-biased, from a very clear perspective as best I can. And, again, I really don't care. I think when we start going, it's blue, it's red, I think we're missing the big picture. And that's what I'm hoping to bring, is the bigger picture back to us as people and humanity. But the link to book a reading is in the bio. I mean, in the description or whatever it is. So anyway, have a good night. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Calling 911 3 times like I haven't done in 53 years is a little exhausting and add the energies, and I'm a little tired. So I hope you got what you needed, and have a great rest of your night. Bye, everybody.